Good morning, everyone. I want to go ahead and get started. Today, I'm going to talk about 90-day forecasting in your business. It's even more critical. This is something we should always do. We should always have a budget for profit and loss. We should also have a budget for cash flow, because cash flow is not always the same as profit and loss. So this is specifically around 90-day forecasting, because the next 90 days in our businesses and all of our businesses is going to be really, really crucial. So cash flow is going to be really, really critical in managing it and knowing what it is. And so today we're going to talk about both. So mindset, during this crisis, it's really easy to get buried in the what ifs, the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt. We call that FUD, F-U-D, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's really easy to get caught up in it. So I want to kick off with a little story about shoe salesmen. So shoe company sent two of their sales reps into a third world country just to see if there was an opportunity there, what the market might be like. So about 5 minutes after they hit the ground, sales rep number one, he's on the phone back to corporate saying, "This is a complete waste of time. Come back and get us. These people don't even wear shoes. We have no business being here. Send the plane back. You need to bring us back and get us home." So a couple minutes later, the second sales rep calls up the corporate office and says, "Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it. This is a gold mine. This is the best opportunity ever. These people don't have shoes. Send all the inventory you've got, get it down here. Nobody here has shoes. What a great opportunity to sell shoes." So, all of us look at this, there's good and bad. It's scary. It's annoying. It's really, we hate that it's happening, but it's just the reality. And we just have to accept that it's a fact that we can't deny and figure out, okay, what can we do? What will we do? All right. So let's go. So my purpose today as your coach is to share three things with you. Okay. Get your mindset right so you can see and access your cash. Get your mindset right so that you can really take a step back and use these spreadsheets that I'm going to teach you how to use and manage your cash and your profit in your business. I'm going to cover the 5 myths you've been led to believe by others that might be making your current situation worse if you buy into any of those myths. And then third, we're going to learn how to deal with your current cash flow situation, how to move the levers to bring in more cash. The other thing I'm going to say is you don't have to worry about the spreadsheets. If you are interested in these spreadsheets, all you have to do afterwards is send me an email and I will share the spreadsheets with you so that you don't have to try to memorize, take pictures of the screen. It's well set up, engineered Excel spreadsheets for doing this that I don't expect you to memorize as we're going through this. So you don't have to worry about that. You just have to reach out to me and ask, and they're there. So mindset. This is all about, and whether we're talking about cash flow or any other aspect of your business, mindset's always important, but right now it's more important than ever. You can't be thinking or saying, "I can't." You've got to be saying, "How can I? What can I do?" It's so important to have that mindset. The government, the virus, the facts, they have already told us what we can't do. Accept the facts and ask yourself, so what can I do? What can I do about my cash flow? What can I do about my marketing? What can I do about whatever? Everything else is easy if you get that right. If you take that mindset every day, when you wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, what can I do today? So many of my clients have shifted from the panic of getting shut down to the, okay, there's certain things I can't do. Those are facts. I'm not going to fight them. It's what can I do? What should I do? What do I need to be doing to get ready? And that's what this is all about. So this mindset's really important every day, but during the crisis, when there's so many things that we're being told we can't do, we have to take our focus off of those I can'ts and get on to what I can do. How can I? Behavior, point of power. This is one of our most powerful slides that we teach. And it's all about, so this point right here, this yellow dot in the middle, that is your point of power. It's basically your ability to decide, to choose. We can let the world choose for us and then cede our power to the world, and just choose to blame and make excuses or have reasons or tell people what our reasons are, we can be in denial that we have any control over anything. These are all the negative behaviors that in normal circumstances we do sometimes. We fall in the trap sometimes, but with the coronavirus crisis, it's even easier to get into these. And now we have one more thing to blame. We have 1,000 more excuses we can use and all the more reasons to deny that any of this is within our control. There are facts we can't fight, but there's still a lot that isn't within our control that we can do. So it's even more important. So the above the line, ownership, accountability, responsibility, being responsible during a crisis, being accountable during a crisis takes on, it's even more important than ever. Take these behaviors on and really think about where, what decisions am I making? When you get to those decision points, am I choosing to step back and say, no, it's the virus's fault, nothing I can do about it? Or are we saying, no, here's the things I can do. Here's what I am responsible for doing still as a business owner, even though we're in a pandemic. I still have responsibilities. I'm still responsible to myself. I'm still responsible to my team. I'm responsible to do things for my clients. I am accountable to myself. I am accountable to my team. I'm accountable to my clients, my patients. And I own this. I own my response and my business's response to the crisis. I can't blame anybody else for what happens beyond the facts. Back to the facts. How I deal with those facts, how I choose to deal with those facts, I own that. You own that as a business leader, as a human being. You own your response. So think about that and think about what your choices are. And the choices are harder sometimes now than they've ever had to be. I've had to talk to clients about letting people go, putting staff on temporary furlough. It's not permanent, but it's sending them home, telling them, hey, go file for unemployment. That is hard to do, but that is being responsible to your business and your clients and patients long term, because the good news is there are programs in place to make that easier for our staff now. But we have a responsibility and accountability to our patients, to our clients, to be there for them when it's time to reopen. And if we don't make the responsible decisions now as leaders of our businesses, then we may not be there to be open later. And managing cash flow and making sure we don't run out of money and we don't get to the point where we're not able to reopen, that's irresponsible. That's not being accountable to yourself, to your team, to your clients, and that's not owning your response. It's all about feeling powerless and letting the situation own you, sap your energy, or it's being powerful and being energetic and owning it. Only you can decide if you're going to get results, even during the crisis. The results that we're targeting for are different now than it was 3 months ago, but there's still results to be had anyways. Or we can be victims. We know people who are already in this mode, and there's going to be a lot more, unfortunately. You take that victim mentality, and the crisis is going to overwhelm them, and they're going to shut down. They're not going to come back, and they're going to blame everybody but themselves for it. Be that owner that chooses at that point of power, at that decision point, that chooses to take the high road, to own it. Own your response. Nobody else can. Now, to get the most out of today, and I'm sure you're all doing a lot of learning. There's a lot of webinars, a lot of great information out there being made available. So you need to make sure that you're going into these webinars and workshops that you're doing with the right mindset, eliminating the thought I know, or this doesn't apply to me. To get the most out of your learning, we got to get rid of the I knows. Thinking I know is the fastest way to lose information, to miss out on information, and to not learn. So we want you to replace those I knows with, isn't that interesting? Or, how could this apply to me if I'm thinking that doesn't apply to me, which is the close cousin to I know. But because when we think I know, or we think that doesn't apply to me, we stop listening, we stop paying attention. When we're doing all this on video now, it's a whole lot easier to stop paying attention, because we can go ahead and pick up our phone and fiddle with it, right? people know when you're not paying attention. But when do you start? The key is when you start paying attention again. What did you miss when you looked away? When you looked at Facebook, when you looked at text, when you looked at whatever? What did you miss? What did you not learn? What key point? When you're in a learning mode, be present in that learning mode. Formula for change. There's going to be a lot of changes. Even when crisis is over, we're going to be living with some of the after effects of this for a while. So there are going to be changes, and we all have a natural resistance to change. Our teams, our staffs, our employees, they're going to have a natural resistance to change. And your patient base, your client base is going to have some resistance to change. And so we have to help them go through the change. So this is what we call our formula for change. The D times V plus F has to be greater than R, where the D and the V stand for dissatisfaction and vision. The F stands for first steps, and the R is that resistance to change. So to overcome resistance to change, you have to help with it. So let's talk about your patients. If it's your patients or your customers who are resisting the changes in the protocols that you're having to do, and the safety, and waiting in their cars instead of waiting in the waiting room when you first open up, possibly, or even now, we're having to do that. Some are struggling with that change. So we have to help them understand what the dissatisfaction is, help them feel dissatisfied with the current, which is risk of getting sick, risk of making somebody else sick. What's your vision? Well, your vision is, in optometry, your vision is, well, you're going to pick up your glasses, you're going to get your new glasses or your new contacts so you can look better, see better, and stay healthy at the same time. And then the first steps are, I need you to park in the parking lot. I need you to call me from there. Let me know you're here. I need you to give me a minute so that I can mask up and I can wash my hands and I can get your glasses so I can bring them out, meet you out at your car. You can try them on. I can look at them. I can go back in, make the adjustments and come out. And we're going to do that in the safest way possible. Yes, I know you'd love to come in, but that's not safe. And so it's helping people, helping teams when teams come back, when teams have to work from home, help them go through this process. But this is how we overcome that resistance to change. So I want you to remember that formula for change. Myths. So these are some myths that I've been hearing and seeing, reading about, talking to clients and other business owners about, and they're causing you to lose money now by believing these. You're missing out on opportunities. So myth number one is that you can wait this out. We've been through this before. Back in 2008, the financial crash, I've been coaching for 4 years at that point. That crisis was devastating. I had clients go out of business, and a lot of them and a lot of companies went out of business. A lot of people lost their jobs because they decided they could wait it out, that they didn't need to make any adjustments on the fly. You can't wait this out. We don't know how long it's going to go. And by waiting it out, you risk losing opportunities and you risk losing your business. There are things that you can do now that don't require waiting it out. You can own. So this goes back to that point of power and owning your response. The people that are just sitting at home trying to wait it out are losing opportunities to help their clients, help their teams, keep their business more viable, and prepare it for when we come out of it the other end. That you can do this alone. More than ever, you need to be pulling in your trusted advisors, building your trusted advisory team, talking to your banker. If you don't have a banker, you better find one fast and build a relationship. Your CPA is a partner in this. If you have a business attorney, your business coach, your financial planner, these are all part of your advisory team. Not only is it not a good idea to think that you can do it alone, you don't need to do it alone. There's no reason to. All these loans are complicated. You've got advisors, and if you don't get an advisory team to help you through this, because it's going to be complicated and there's going to be steps, there's going to be changes happening fast, and you need your advisory team who is spending a significant amount of their time every day keeping up on the latest so that you don't have to. You don't have to do this alone. It's not even a good idea to try. Another myth is that you should never take on debt. There's people that are avoiding getting some of the emergency loans because, well, they've read David Ramsey who said debt is bad. Well, in general, excessive debt is bad. Over leveraged debt is bad, but debt is good when it's used as leverage to keep your business going. So this is where a lot of us are used to paying off our bills on time, our lab bills on time, our credit card bills in full every month, so we don't have to pay any interest. Cash is king right now, so now might be a time to think about making minimum payments. Or if minimum payment feels too small, partial payments. Take advantage of your credit. It's there for a reason. Yes, it'll cost a little bit in interest, but $100 in interest versus spending all your cash and running out of cash and having to lay somebody off and not being able to bring them back or not being able to buy inventory to sell. That's crazy. I've got a client that is running low on inventory, was die hard. He was not going to lay anybody off or cut anybody's hours. And I told him, I said, look, when in 2 months, when you have sales again, you're going to have nothing to sell. You're going to have no cash to buy any inventory because you spent it all paying people to do nothing because you wanted to be a nice guy. Use the unemployment system. We did apply for the PPP loans, the disaster loans, but even then, minimize how much cash outlay, take advantage of it to the fullest extent, stretch it to the fullest. And it's not so that you can pocket money, it's so that you can be ready and be open for business when business is open again. So this is the time when you can take on debt. You have to do it smartly, use your advisors, make sure it's manageable and that you're confident you can repay it, but conserve cash, conserve cash, conserve cash. Another myth is that this is out of your control. It's not. There are some facts that are out of your control. You can't control the facts, but there is a lot you can do. And it's all about deciding to take the step and do it. And the last one is that you can't go out and sell during a crisis that looks too opportunistic. I'm seeing this on some of social media now, people complaining about, oh, I can't believe such and such a business is marketing their services. Well, you know what? Business needs to happen. People need our products and services. We need to market and sell with compassion. We need to change our message. I'm not out there marketing, grow your business, grow your business, grow your business. I'm out there saying, hey, how can I help you save your business? How can I help you prepare your business to come out of this the other side so you can get back to growing again? I'm marketing, but I'm marketing a different message. And it's not just grow, 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 grow. It's save, save, save. It's survive, stabilize, and then thrive. And there's lots of companies out there that are selling, that have products and services that people want to buy. It's not opportunistic. It's opportunistic if you jack up your prices, but otherwise it's simply, hey, people have a need for your product. Sometimes now more than ever. It is okay to be selling. It is okay to be marketing. Your clients, your customers, your patients, they need you. They need something you offer. And if you do it, your job is to let them know it's available. One, so that they get their needs met. Two, so that your business can continue to exist and reopen again and grow for them. Because our businesses are here to sell products and services to meet the needs of our customer bases. You just have to do it with compassion and with the right attitude and the right mindset. So those are those 5 myths I talked about. So now let's talk about cash. Think about chocolate chip cookies. To consistently make chocolate chip cookies that taste great, and every time we follow a recipe, right? When we're cooking things, we follow a recipe. And, oh, yeah, these are good, but they don't taste like last time. Well, it's because I kind of wing it every time. Well, too many businesses run themselves based on their cash the same way. They don't have a recipe. They don't have a formula. They just kind of wing it. You can get away with that sometimes. It's not a great way to grow, but in a crisis, when cash is tight and we have to manage it, it's really dangerous. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to go through kind of what is going to be in it, and then I'm going to open up the spreadsheet and share it, and we're going to talk about it. So cash flow is all about knowing what your beginning business checking balance is, knowing how much money do I anticipate coming in every week, how much I plan to go out every week, what are my reserves. Reserves are cash reserves and saving It's what's left on a line of credit. It's unused credit on a credit card. Those are your reserves. We have to know what your reserves are. What's my debt? So how much do I owe on my line of credit? How much do I owe on my credit card? What is my debt load? And then we're going to look at 90-day revenue and profit projections with break evens. I'll show you a tool for that as well. The different areas we're looking at are the direct labor, the salaries, projected hours, billable hours, non-billable hours, number of days, weeks of work in the time period, billable rates, how we bill. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at all of our indirect labor and expenses, our administrative salaries, our monthly expenses, all that stuff that we put into overhead. Look at how do we then project and then run scenarios for different break evens and profit levels. Right now, if you can run your business break even, you're probably in the top 50 to 75%. If you're able to run it at a profit, you're in the lucky 25% that are still able to be open and have a customer base that's essential and it needs supplies. I've got a couple clients where we're hiring people because we can't keep up with the workload. Don't have a lot of those, but they're out there. So now I'm going to go ahead and pop this spreadsheet up and share that with you. And like I said, if you want this spreadsheet, all you got to do is email me afterwards and I'll send it to you. So there's 3 tabs in this spreadsheet. First one is the instructions, overview and instructions. Then there's 2 tabs. One is the 90-day cash flow forecast page where we look at projecting cash flow. And the second then is 90-day revenue profit management and forecasting tool. Everything is set up very simple. And the rules are here and they tested them. I've hidden a couple rows where they weren't applicable because this was changed from another coach's. The setup for each is in here. There's a separate setup and usage for each of the 2 instructions. So fields in yellow are fields to enter in one time and then just leave alone. Fields highlighted in blue are for you to add data in as you go through the weeks. Everything else, you just leave alone. It's formulas, it's calculations. So to do your 90-day cash flow forecast, you simply start out by putting in what week. Week beginning either on a Sunday or Monday, week starting, so the week of, and you put that date in, and then it will calculate out the rest of the 13 weeks in the quarter.
Should we start this when we get, like, for those of us who got the PPP money, should we start it that day, or when would you suggest starting, Mark?
Yeah, if you got your PPP this week, yeah, it would be good to start. Go to start with Monday.
Okay.
Here's mine. If you haven't got your PPP loan yet, you would put that in incoming cash when you think it's going to show up. So your beginning balance. So this beginning balance, this is your business checking account. So those are the 2 things in yellow to start. And then we go down here, and in yellow, we basically go to our P&L and we cut and paste all the different categories accounts from our expenses. So these are the things that we pay bills in each of these categories. So you get these off your P&L and you just populate those one time, and then the spreadsheet will take care of populating the rest of the fields. So each week you've got that. Then you go down to cash reserves. What's our savings account balance if you have a savings account? If you keep what you owe in payroll taxes in a separate account, what's in that bank account? If you have a payroll savings account, what's in that? And then credit cards. So here you type in the different names of the different accounts and then the amount left. So on the credit cards, it's what's available, unused, what's available credit. So if you log into your account, what's the available credit? And you put that here. Then you go down to the debt. Then what's my balance on each of those credit cards? What's my balance? What do I owe on my line of credit? If I've got a $50,000 line of credit and I've used $25,000, I've got $25,000 available credit, and then I've got $25,000 of debt that I owe. You've got an SBA loan, the balance on that. Any other loans? Just put in the name of the loan here and then the amount due. Now you go in, we go back to the instructions. So that covers everything in this setup. There's 6 steps here, but I hid step 3 because it doesn't need to be done. So there's really 5 steps to do. Now it's time to go into to use it by entering data in the blue cells. Incoming cash in week 1, and you put, from where, customers, product sales, service sales, whatever your different categories are for sales and money coming in. It could be PPP loan, and project how much I'm going to have coming in from the different sources. And we're going to project over 13 weeks how much we anticipate from the different sources of revenue, cash coming in during that time. Then we go down to outgoing cash, do the same thing. In each week, if this is this week, this would be, week of April 13th. We started on Monday, April 13th. So week of what checks do I write? So it's the second week of the month, second full week of the month, or third week, however you do it. What checks am I going to write this week of these categories? It won't be all of them. In this one, week of the 30th, that was a good one because rent was probably due that the first of the month. So that would have been the amount. And so you put when your payments go out. This might be a little work to set up for the first month, but then it'll be easy to do over the rolling weeks. And you just put in there, payroll. When your payroll is, how much is going to go out. When you take your owner's draw, plan if and when you're still going to do that, when that's going to come out. When you pay your utility, which week of the month do you pay your utilities? Go plan that out and what that amount's going to be. Down in cash reserves, what are they now? What do we use up? What's our new savings account balance? Because we had to draw some. What's our debt? Where's our debt at? So because we're up here, we're talking cash, we're not talking P&L. So I made a payment on a credit card. I made charges on a credit card. So now it's what my, what I expect my credit availability to be. And this is forecasting. This is planning. This is not just recording after the fact. This is, what are we doing now? What are we planning? What are we doing? When we enter it, it's going to calculate, it's going to come up to this projected ending balance. So you'll see what happened. So the first week, with all that data, where we started, incoming cash, outgoing cash, it's all totaled up from below. So it's our projected ending balance. So that's our new balance for the next week. If I put in customer A is going to pay me $5,000. Customer A is going to let me know. Now I've got project, number 125. They're going to pay me $1,500 for that project, get that project started. So I've now got cash coming in. Incoming cash up here is $6,500. For whatever reason, I paid all my expenses in the first week of the month, so I have 0 expenses. But I am going to make another payment on my credit card, and I'm going to put another $500 on each of my credit cards since I've got some cash flow, and I'm going to put another $1,000 against my line. So $2,000 outgoing cash. So I brought in $6,500. Then I can go down. I can put what my new starting balance is at the beginning of the week for all these, so that I can see my picture. Now I go up here and see, oh, my beginning balance was $22,065. I brought in $6,500 cash, projecting outgoing. So my projecting end balance is there. So I can see where I'm going to be and project where my cash flow will be, so that I can understand, do I need to draw from savings? This incoming cash might be a line of credit advance, which would come in incoming cash, let me know my cash flow balance, and then would lower my credit available and raise my debt, so that I can always see. Here I've got, when I start, I've got $87,500 available cash and credit and $150,000 in debt. So I can monitor, where's my debt going? Where are my cash reserves going? How am I doing? So that's on the cash flow side. That's fairly straightforward.
but it will take a little bit of time to sit down, but that's how we manage cash flow.
I have a quick question.
Yep, Amy?
So we have a small payroll.
Mhm.
So we've flipped from being Scheduled C to incorporating a payroll service. And so now we're an S Corp. So we have still the owner draw and a little bit of our own payroll. So we're still only paying ourselves. We don't have any employees. So does that fall all within that same spreadsheet?
Yeah, so what I do
see
there is I separate out which part's payroll and then which part's owner's draw,
Okay.
so that I can plan, because, you know, payroll is you've set up, you're going to pay yourself, you're an S Corp, you're going to pay yourself a certain amount every payroll period. And then the owner's draw, a lot of times, especially in a time like this, becomes discretionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pull that out, so you can project out when your payrolls are going to happen, and then you can project out. Then you can look at the cash flow projections and say, okay, I think I can take a draw here. I think I can take a draw there. I think I can, and allows you to plan for when you think and look at, you know, what does that do to my cash balance
Mm-hmm.
in the future if I plan my draws out this way. And it lets me know, okay, well, I got to go hustle for a little more income. I got to figure out a way to sell a little more, or to get paid by somebody who already owes me that I've already delivered a service to. And it just makes it easy to see where you're at and what you can, what you can do. And maybe the owner's draw might be, we need money in our personal bank account to pay the mortgage. So I'm going to go ahead and take a draw, but I'm going to have to pull from a line of credit, or pull from and take on a little debt, a little bit of business debt instead of personal debt to do that.
Where would the payroll services come into? I see that you've got the taxes, the payroll taxes and everything. We are using a payroll service. So
Right.
they're holding on to the taxes and everything.
Right. Yeah. So when they take out payroll, they're taking out the gross payroll, which makes it easier for you. So you don't have to worry about but you'll have some payroll taxes, the business part of the payroll taxes, and so it can be estimated they're going to be roughly, 10%. I usually just estimate 10% to have a safe number. And then, paying for the service would be one of your accounts in QuickBooks. Would be in here. So these are basically your QuickBooks accounts. Payroll service expense would be one of the accounts in here where they take out their, whatever, $50 of payroll or whatever. That goes in this category.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, you might mention the tax thing you talked to me about yesterday, to her too, about having them defer the taxes. Well, just so I'm just thinking while she's talking payroll, she may know that she just started payroll service. So
Why don't you go ahead and share it, Kirk, real quick.
okay. Amy, he was telling you the payroll service, if you talk to your people, they can defer your payroll taxes that may get forgiven with the PPP loan if you have that. So you have to call them and make sure they know that to get it later on. So it really helps on your cash flow a little bit right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just applied for that yesterday.
Yeah, my first payroll will be the next payroll with the PPP, but at least I know, and I've called them already to get things rolling, so it'll help on that. So little thing Mark does, he knows things.
So you can defer payroll taxes through the end of the year. So instead of paying with each payroll half, so of what you defer, you'll still owe it, but you'll owe it half of it at the end of 2021 and the other half at the end of 2022.
Thank you.
That's to keep a little cash. If you get the PPP loan, then when your loan is forgiven, that's when you stop deferring payroll taxes. But up until the point, so it's either, so you can defer them either through the end of this year or till the day that your loan is forgiven. So you can't double dip and defer and get stuff forgiven. But until it's forgiven, for most of us, it's going to be 8 to 10 weeks, maybe 12 weeks. You can defer those payroll taxes. They're due still, but no penalties, no interest, not due, half in 2021, half in 2022. Nice little benefit. So that's the cash flow. Like I said, instructions, pretty helpful. So now let's get in the revenue projections, the profit and loss. This one's more complicated for sure.
the same rules apply. You put the things in yellow are one-time entry. The things in white are calculations. You don't change those. And I don't think there's anything in blue in this one. Nope. So it's all either yellow or white. So depending on your business, it's, you look at so direct labor is the people doing the work. When it's just you as a solopreneur or you and your husband, doing the work, this might just be you. And you annualize your wages and let it do all the calculations. Kirk, for optometrists, and medical practices, what I'm recommending is to think about your direct labor as basically providers who can charge. So in your case, you're the only direct labor because everything is billed in your name. For like dental offices, it's the doctors and the hygienists who are providers. In the trades, it's the tradesmen. So my HVAC clients and electrician clients, it's the staff who are doing the work and getting paid. So that's who goes in direct labor. Everybody else is what we call indirect labor or overhead labor. So then you put in the billable hours. So you estimate how many billable hours in a week. Kirk, you work 40 hours, but you're not generating revenue 100% of the time. So some percentage of your day, probably, and it's probably pretty high for you, it might be 80% of your day is billable. So it would be 80% of your total hours would be billable hours, and then the other would be non-billable hours. And then it'll do the rest of the calculations. And then you come over and you look at, what is your average billable rate? And that we can look at your collections per patient and the number of patients per hour you see and come up with that rate for you, for your billable rate. For, the tradespeople, the billable rate is what you bill them out, what you bill them out at. So for an electrician, you might be billing them out at $95 an hour. And so you put that rate in there. Or, for a skilled, for unskilled trade, it might be billable at 65. For the skilled, it might be 95. So for each employee you put in here, and you put the names there, it's what is their billable rate. And then the number of weeks they're expected to work in a quarter. We're doing this 90 days at a time. So then it does the rest of the calculation, and we'll look at where the rest of the data, but it will then project the revenue that team will create during those 13 weeks. It will calculate the break-even revenue per employee, total and per employee. So what's break even? And then the profit per employee if they hit their targets that you set for them for billable hours. Then the overhead, you come down, you put in what are your overhead costs. This is the direct labor portion of it. Enter the administrative overhead positions and salaries here, and owner's draw and sales commission. That's your total labor overhead. And then you put your other cost of goods, subs, any materials you buy, your monthly average, and you put it here. And then this section here looks suspiciously like the previous one. And you can just cut and paste what you put together for your cash flow forecast and just cut and paste it right here. So that's your automatic. So then it'll calculate up, and that becomes your overhead expense. And so that now lets us see where we're at. And so now we can start playing with these numbers that are within our control. If this number is a negative number, we're looking at total profit, and that comes out to be negative. We need to look at where do we make adjustments. Is it up on the employee? You can look at each employee. If you have employees who are revenue producers, and see if they're profitable. And if they're not, then it's looking at what's wrong. Is it they're not working enough billable hours? We paying them too much? Is their average billable rate need to be adjusted? Are they not working enough weeks? But this lets us see employee by employee for producer employees. And then if this number still isn't good, then we got to go down and look at, okay, where are our levels and our overhead costs, salaries? Okay, this is where I look at, okay, maybe I've got to cut everybody 10%, or I've got to cut out my draw. I've got to not take a draw for the next 3 months. And I can see what that does to my cash, to my profit. And this isn't cash flow, this is profit. Because we need to be operating profitably and we need to be managing our cash flow. And two are different. So this one takes some time to figure out, but it is worth spending the time to go through these instructions and figuring out, that's in the bottom of that, here's the instructions for how to use this. Some tips. It's just a great tool to learn how, as you grow, when you're just a 1 or 2 person operation, this gets to be pretty straightforward, but it's still a great exercise to do and learn what your levers are. And then as you grow, add team members. Are they revenue producers? Are they overhead? Look at the addition of that employee's pay. What does that do for profit? What does that mean you need to do? Do we need more billable hours? Are we assuming that the addition of a marketing person is going to add more billable hours? Well, better. So you can go up here and project out, well, the assumption is now I'm going to have 30 billable hours and only 10 non-billable because my marketing person is going to get me more work.
So this could be used for the future too, for like my growth with the other doctor and things like that too. So this is something, I like this, Mark. Thank you.
We could spend hours on this one, but it'd be more useful for you to get your hands on it and start to use it and figure it out to the best of your ability, and then give me a shout and ask for help with it. So I'm going to stop with that one, and I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. These are two great tools. These are tools we should use all the time, but they're even more important right now, because if we need to manage our cash flow and if we need to manage our P&L, we need to know what our levers are. And this lets us see where our levers are in our business. Because in most businesses, it's all about billable hours versus non-billable hours for the revenue producers, and how much revenue we're generating per hour, per week, per day, per week. And Kirk, for you, we have revenue per patient, and we have number of patients per day and per hour. So it's easy to calculate your hourly billable rate because we have that data and we can look at that, what that looks like then. So recap, get your mindset right so you can see what's going on and access the information about your cash flow and where cash is, where it can come from, what are the different sources, but get into owning it. Own your situation. Own your response to the crisis. Own how you handle your cash with your team and your business and your customers, because you have to maintain now, stabilize, so that you can continue to exist for the long term. Your number one job right now, if you're in that shutdown or slowdown mode, is to make sure you can reopen and be there for your clients when the time comes. Second thing is, we talked about those 5 myths that other people are falling into the trap of believing. It doesn't help us to have those beliefs. Gets in the way, takes us below that point, and it takes the power away from us and gives it to others, and leaves us with nothing but blame, excuses, and denial. And the last thing is, we now have a tool to project and manage our cash flow and our profit, to show us the levers that we have. So it's all about modeling your cash. It's practice, and then each week you look at, where did I go wrong? I only expected to outlay 3,000 cash. I outlaid 5,000. Where was my projections wrong? And it's learn, and then you adjust and say, okay, I paid that in a different week, and then you adjust it and you learn from it. So you keep so that your projections over time get more and more accurate and more complete. So investing in your future. You invested an hour in your future. I'm willing to invest 5 hours a week in business owners that are willing to do this. What I'm offering is 2 options: either a 30-minute cash flow strategy session where we'll just talk about some cash flow strategies and where you can get some cash flow, or a full 90-minute coaching session where we'll talk about not just cash flow, but we'll also look at the rest of your business and talk about what else can you be doing now to prepare to come out of this, and what are the options for stabilizing your business and then getting it ready to sprint and compete and thrive when we come out of this. If you're interested in those, email me. And also, if you want the spreadsheet, email me at markmcnulty@actioncoach.com or call and let me know what you want, and I will get with you and schedule something. I'm booked up this week. It'll be next week. If we do the full coaching session, there will be a questionnaire I'm going to ask you to fill out so I can learn more about the rest of your business, so that I can prepare and we can really look at your business beyond just the cash flow, just beyond these cash flow spreadsheets.
If he didn't ask me to say this, but if you aren't a client of Mark's and need help right now, guys, use him. He is excellent at helping you keep your mindset way better. I just really recommend Mark, and I've been with him, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. So it's worth the money, and it's worth him. The free session you can't lose.
Thank you, Kurt. All right, so thank you. So upcoming webinars. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, I'm doing 5 steps to pivot your business. So if you're struggling to figure out how to pivot, either mentally or actually, we're going to talk about innovating, reallocating resources, and the 5 steps to go through to think about what can I do to pivot. Friday morning, 9 to 9:30, Coach Sandy is going to be talking about keeping remote teams engaged. If you've got team working remotely, she's going to be talking about that. She used to own a business, a medical transcription business, had 80 plus people working from home, and she had to keep them engaged and productive so that she could grow her business. 11 and noon on Friday, I'm going to be talking about the 5 phases that a business goes through during the pandemic. Friday the 24th from 9 a.m. till noon. It's going to be a 90-day planning workshop. I'm offering that every 2 weeks. So if you've already been to one of those, you don't need to come again. You're welcome to join us, but you'll have seen it already. We're going to do the same thing. I'm just making that available every 2 weeks for people, because I want as many people as possible to learn how to do this, to get the help they need. So feel free to pass this information along. You can register for all these on our website, actioncoachbluegrass.com. Go to the COVID-19 link on it, and all of our upcoming webinars are on there. You can register for any and all of them. So thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback in chat. So thank you. I appreciate everybody being here today. Have a great day. Let me know how I can help. Thanks, everybody.